Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Gigi in the 561, my podcast. Thank you for joining me today. I'm Pam Barker. I'm Gigi. I am excited and very honored today because I have a very special guest, and he has been on my podcast before, but I have something very exciting to talk to with him today. His name is James E. Hibbard, and I'm going to call him Jim. He is a dancer, an actor, a teacher, and now he's an author. Hey, Jim.
Hi, Pam.
Um,
Great to hear from you. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being here today. I'm very honored. You know, I'm a big fan of yours. First, before we talk about what we're here to talk about today, I do want to ask you about the weather where you are because it's very hot in South Florida where I am, so make me jealous.
Well, for the past week, we've been anywhere between 85 and 105 every day here
What?
in the Okanagan. It's just been beautiful, you
Oh,
know.
wow. Okay. Well, listen, I want to get right to it. But first, I want to tell everyone you have written a book, and it's called "I Can't Stop Dancing." And when I read it, truthfully, I could not stop reading it because it's just this encyclopedia of not only your career, but so many others are mentioned and credited and so forth in the book.
Oh, thanks. My dancer friends in Los Angeles for several years were asking or hounding me to write my story. And finally, I decided to write it primarily so my grandchildren would have something to read about me.
Hmm.
But as I got into writing it, um, I realized this that I've been teaching for years and years and years and years, and I do have a solid passion to give back to the next in line, and it's so I consider all these people that I've worked with and that helped me in my career to further it. They're my angels, and I think about them every day, and I want to honor them, and especially the people that have been with me all the way through my
Right.
entire career. You know.
Well, in your book, you have many wonderful photos, but right off the bat, what is very eye catching are two photos of James Hibbard at a dance recital, 1951, and then right beside it, James Hibbard at International Tap Day 2019. I mean, it's just that
I
says
know.
everything about about your career and about you.
Well, I've been blessed because a lot of my people that I dance with already have had hip hip replacements or knee replacements, and but I've been blessed with good knees and good hips, and I'm still dancing. And I just performed just a week ago in Vancouver at a dance festival, and I was able to, yeah, first of all, give a talk and talk about my book, of course, but talk to the dancers that were all out in the audience, and it was a great time. But I got to, and then I tap danced for them. So there aren't too many 82-year-olds tap dancing anymore. So
I want to take just a moment because I was very impressed with the preface, your whole book, but of your book. And I want to share some of this because it, I think, just says so much about you as a person. So indulge me while I read some of this. This is from coming directly from Mr. Hibbard. My dreams have come true beyond what I could have ever imagined. I have always had a positive nature, and I want people that are hearing this to really pay attention to what he is writing here and never given much time towards passive or negative thinking. I never planned anything. I just worked hard, and good things came to me. A great friend of mine, Pete Menifee, once told me when God was giving out the jaded gene, you were at home sick. I have learned from and worked with most of my idols. And I love this part, Jim. The guiding angel who made it possible for me to achieve my dreams was my mother, Lois Merrill Hibbard. She truly wanted the best for me. Against all early obstacles, she ensured I had the opportunity to succeed. From the moment I started dancing, I have had help and support along the way from an abundance of family, friends, and teachers. But my biggest advocate was my first angel, my mom. I plan to introduce you to as many supporters and mentors as I can remember. They were all angels. You cannot do this alone. This is my story as best as I can recall. Jack Pepper, a famous saloon singer and vaudevillian star, once said, "There is." And this is terrific. This is an A version of your story, a B version of your story, and then there is the truth. I will give you my truth as best as I can remember. And in reading your book, you succeeded in that, Jim.
Oh, thanks, son. Thanks. I really appreciate that. It's true. Against all obstacles, you made it possible for me to have the opportunity, to become the dancer that I wanted to be. And
Well,
that was for me when I was 8 years old. She used to take my brother and I to movie musicals in Boise, Idaho, at the Egyptian Theater, the only theater there. And she said I came out of one movie, which was It's Always Fair Weather, and I tried to dance down the street like Kelly, and that's where she got the idea that I might like to have dance lessons.
well, the interesting thing about your book is, to me, the theme. I think the overriding theme. We're not going to give away this book. We're not. We're going to talk a lot, but we're not going to talk. We're not going to give away the book because you have met so many people. You have been in so many films. You have had interesting conversations with people like Elvis Presley. Something interesting happened with Bob Fosse, but you're gonna have to buy his book. You're gonna have to buy it and read it for yourself, and it's so worth it. But we are going to talk about the credit given in these interesting people that were and things that happen to you along the way as walking into you had been with your mom, your dad had given you the okay to be in California for a short time, but then your mom, we were at a drugstore or something, and there was a sign on the door window, and you said, "Mom, let's go in here," and it started this whole series of things, but in your life. But one of the people I found so fascinating was Nico Charisse, who at one time had been married to the incomparable Sid Charisse, who truly had the longest legs for a dancer that I've ever seen in my life. But your relationship with Nico Charisse was really, really fascinating.
Yeah, Nico was so. When we went into audition for showing that I could dance, he was there, and if you know Nico, he doesn't look like a dancer. He looks like a gypsy. His pants were rolled up. He was barefoot. He had a keychain from his back pocket to his front, and he had lots of hair and a beard, and he just looked. And when he walks, it's kind of schlepping. But then every once in a while in class, he would get up and he transformed into this beautiful dancer. But he saw our problem, our situation right away because we didn't have that much money for a month of lessons. So he gave me a ballet scholarship immediately, and he said all we have to do is pay for his guest teachers, which at that time was the movie star Gene Nelson
Mm,
from Oklahoma,
yeah.
and he became my teacher and mentor and helped me actually sent me to get my first job, my first professional job.
Well, wasn't there he also wasn't it Nico, help me here, but it's been a while since I read the book. I did make a ton of notes here, but he also sold ballet bars. That was Nico, right? That
Yeah, he created these portable ballet bars,
I found that so
and they're about
interesting.
six. They were about 6 feet by 4 feet, and they folded down. The bar folded down, and you folded it up, and locked it in place, and so people could have a little ballet studio in their house. And he made them and sold them. They were great.
I want to ask you a question about dancers. Do
Hmm.
you think, in your opinion, and you of all people should know the answer to this, I think, that people are born with the it factor? Dance lessons aside, learning the box step, whatever, shuffle, ball change, you can learn it. But people like you are born with the it factor. And I think that's real, but that's just my opinion. What do you think?
Well, no, it's absolutely true. Like, like for instance, in Nico's school, there was a dancer, a girl named Randy Rayburn, and you actually have seen her in the movie in White Christmas. The very last scene, she's a little ballerina in the center in front.
I know
Well,
exactly who
Randy
you're
Ray,
talking about. Yes.
she was a dancer who could do anything on both sides, and she was magnificent, but she didn't have the heart for it. She
Oh,
didn't. She gave it up and quite early, and yet she was brilliant. And we all tried to dance like her, but it was like next to impossible. And but people are born with the desire to be there and do it, and they need. And for me, I found that I always loved the audience. And there's an old vaudeville thing, give them what they want, right?
mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
that's been my mantra from start to finish. You can, it's like when you say read the room. No, those people are there to be entertained
Right.
and have a good time. And if you're lucky, you may make them forget their troubles for a few moments.
Yeah. It's very
And that means
important.
everything to me.
I was talking about you with our granddaughter this past weekend, and I had her look at your internet movie database and just chatting about you. But really, what I was trying to impress upon her, and she's will be 13 in October, was the a running theme in your book about your career. Having a dream, dreaming big, and going for it. But the real thing that I think stands out, hard work and taking the classes. I mean, throughout your career, you have continued to take classes, and you would go to class and you would really work when you really didn't have to. You didn't have to practice that much, was the impression that I got from reading the book. But you kept on learning. You didn't just rest on those laurels. And this is me saying it, not, you didn't say it that way, but what you said was hard work and go to the classes, and keep on learning. And that's really what I was trying to impress upon her. It's like, look what this man has done. Look at this. Look at these films. And of course, she sees Freaky Friday, and many of the films that would really intrigue her. She's like, oh, he was in that. He was in this. But I said, yeah, and he's still dancing because he works hard for what he does. And that was throughout your book, a theme.
Well, yeah, the thing is with dancing is that when you do a professional job, you actually lose some of your chops a bit because you're going to be dancing with what the choreographer requires, and then other skills that you are building up suffer a little bit. So getting back into class is essential to get your chops up where they should be. And if you lose a job, if you lose a job at an audition because your chops aren't up, it's entirely your fault. And you have to make sure that when you finish your job, is to get back in the class, because that's where you revisit all your basics that you need to improve and get better.
I want to take you all the way back to the 60s, where I first saw you in Where the Action Is, on the beach with a bunch of crazy kids that I thought were just envy. It's like, why can't I be there dancing with them on the beach? And now I realize it's you guys were working hard and it's hot in your stand, and but you and Pete Menefee both were huge standouts. But what was fun for me, you know how when you're watching something, it's a we watch a lot of British shows. It's like, hey, where have I seen that actor before? And then you go and you try to find it. But back then, when I first started, first time I saw Bye Bye Birdie, for example, and I'm going, oh my gosh, I there he is, and then Viva Las Vegas, there he is. You have that presence that you stand out. It goes back to what I said a minute ago about the it factor. There are people that catch your eye, and I know that has to be what the people that hired you over and over and over and worked with you over and over and over also saw, obviously. But you really do, Jim. You can't help but notice you. It's just there he is. Hello, Dolly. There he is. And I love all of your behind the scenes stories. And again, people are going to have to buy your book to hear about working with Elvis, because you were in, let's say, Viva Las Vegas was one, and which actually to me set the screen on fire. That scene at wherever it was really filmed, but it was supposed to be the university, and where you're on stage with Anne Margaret, the incomparable, and Elvis, and it just jumped off the screen. But you were in several. You were in the Kissing Cousins, I think, right?
Oh, yes, I did 6 films with Elvis. Yes,
And you got to know
and
him in a really special way, and um, that was pretty extraordinary to read about. I really enjoyed that. It was very. I felt you wrote it in a very heartfelt way.
well, it's exactly the way it happened, and it was. Uh, uh, I was told afterwards by his road manager, Joe Esposito, that he never reaches out to people like that. And but what was happening on a break from filming, I was just talking to somebody about uh, growing up in Idaho in the woods and hunting and fishing and that kind of thing, and he overheard this. So that's when he asked me to come to his trailer and on the next break and just have a conversation, and that was the beginning of, and we did it at every movie after that. But he wanted to talk about when times for him that were simpler,
Hmm.
and not he wanted to talk about hunting and fishing
Yeah.
and his early career when he was starting, and he talked about his mom, and it was just it was just really non-show business stuff.
Yeah.
It was all just straight life, and he was the most polite superstar I'd ever met, and he was considerate and respectful. And I got to tell you, the one thing is that we would be sitting and having our conversation and get totally into it, and then the assistant director would come and say, "Mr. Presley, we're ready for the next shot," and he would always turn to me and say, "Jimmy, have we finished what we want to talk about?"
Wow.
And then of course I would say, "Yeah, I think we should go."
Of
So we get,
course.
we get up and then go back to the set and do the stuff. But it was, and then after the last film I did with him, he invited me to come to his comeback special at NBC, and he made me a special guest, and it was just, and
Oh,
afterwards he came to me and he said, "I won't be doing these movies anymore, but I'm going to miss our chats,"
oh,
and it
that
was
was
pretty
really
sweet.
nice. Yeah. Very
Yeah.
nice. You've done so many big films and with dancing and choreography and all of that. Do you have a favorite? I mean, I can't imagine picking one, but do you?
People have asked me that so many times, and I think every single job, whether it was a big film or a little stage production, or no matter what it is, I've loved every one of them the same amount. I mean, it's because you do your best on every single thing you do, and the reward is always the same. It's always wonderful, and it's you don't shortchange anything, no matter what the size is. If you're not doing a big, you know, movie musical, then you're doing a smaller job, whatever it is. But they're all, to me, they're all big jobs,
Yeah.
and I have to be the best I can be at each one.
Now I have to tell you, I was a fan of the series Psych. And it intrigued me to in doing more research on you. You think I already have all of that, but before this interview, I did more, and I went, "Oh, wait!" And so I went to it was I believe season 8, episode 4, so I'm not mistaken, and it was the one with where Delay Hill tap dances,
Yes,
and you
right.
are such an unbelievable tap dancer. Were you in that? And can I how can I
Yes.
find the clips? I want to see that.
Well, yeah, Psych was one of the shows I've, in the last 10 years I've done here. Um, there's a choreographer named Paul Becker, and Paul Becker and I danced on a TV special when he was not a choreographer. He was a dancer. And after that, he became a serious choreographer and big time in the business. He's the one. I tell everybody, I say, you're the one who, it was your fault bringing me back into movies and television because he was choreographing so much stuff, but he wanted me to be in his productions, and I say, but Paul, I'm dancing, but everybody else is babies. They're younger than I am. He said, doesn't matter. You are the guy.
Hmm.
And then he did the same thing. He would then started working with Kenny Ortega, and Kenny Ortega. He introduced me to Kenny Ortega, and Kenny Ortega fell in love with me and had me in several of his films up here. And Kenny calls me. He said, "I call you my muse because everything I do with you turns out great." He was
Nice.
just very
Yeah,
sweet man,
very.
and he's a born mentor. You know, and he had a wild history with Gene Kelly. So he was the mentor. Gene Kelly was the mentor to Kenny. Yeah.
It's all connected. It's really all
Yes.
right. Can be it can be connected. I do want to ask you about the photo of you, and I did read about it in the book. But where you have that, I, when you have posted it on social media, and it just pains me because you are the sweetest. You have the sweetest face and expression, and you always look happy. But it's this awful makeup that it's like drains coming down. Please don't post that.
Well, that's because of Paul Becker again. He Paul Becker had this job on The Last of Us, and that's, everybody is infected with some. It's like a zombie kind of thing, but uh, I didn't dance on it. But he brought like 12 of us to Calgary to be in this episode of this, and because we were all dancers, but we had to hit marks at a certain beat, a certain time, and get across bodies that are lying on the floor in their blood. It was crazy, and it was such fun, and it was actually like a compliment to all of us. We'd all worked with them several times, and it turned out to be a great job. And that I just got to tell you, that makeup. Everybody had two makeup artists assigned to them, and that took 5.5 hours to put
Oh,
on me, and about 3 hours to take off, and had to do it each day.
oh,
No,
oh.
it was crazy. It was crazy. I fell asleep after the first day. I just slept there, and they put the stuff on me.
Well, it looks very real. It's very. They did a great job. It's like, oh, Jim, no, no. It can't be you. It's
Oh, and
awful.
I got to tell you, those two, my two makeup guys were twins, twin brothers, and they were on loan from Game of Thrones to do my makeup.
Oh, that's impressive.
That was
Uh,
crazy. Yeah.
so okay, you're still teaching, you're mentoring, you're what what haven't you done? I mean, you have worked with the greats. You have absolutely worked with the greats. You have stood on the shoulders of others. Others have definitely been on yours to launching your career. But what is it that's just out there that you have to do that you haven't done yet? I can't imagine what it is, but is there? Is there something?
Well, yes, there is. There's interest now. We're working on the project right now, and Susan Skemp is involved, and we're going to. I mean, there's going to be a documentary on my life story,
Oh,
and
Jim.
I'm going to my company. I have a company called Jimmy the Tap Productions, and I'm going to produce it. But the we're going to shoot. There's one section that's a dance section, so I'm going to shoot it with all my that I can remember how Gene Kelly was working with the cameras and the dancers and how he shot them. We're going to have 4 cameras, and we're going to shoot the dance section that way, and it's going to be story laden because I have that, my first my little practice floor in the woods in Idaho, in the logging camp. The only way I could practice my tap dancing
Yeah.
or jazz dancing was my dad and my grandfather pulled 2 logs into the trailer camp and nailed some planks across it. And so that was my practice floor uh,
Oh, wow.
under the trees. So it was anyway. It's going to start and end with that kind of button hook.
That
But
is
that's what it's going
exciting.
to be my documentary. So I'm excited.
That
So
is exciting, and I can't wait to see it. And do you have a time frame or just don't know?
it's just in the very beginning stages now.
Okay, okay.
Uh, but we'll raise the money and we'll do it, and it's going to happen. That's for sure. And I've got most of the people picked out. I've already asked some dancer friends of mine to be in it, and also one of the sections I want to go to Los Angeles and interview like Pete Menefee and
Mm,
Leslie Evans and those people that worked with you on where the action is and Tony Basil, that
yeah,
kind of thing, and just get their point of view about dance as well,
yeah.
right?
You're right, exactly. Oh, it's exciting, all of it. Your life. People read this book because he's a fascinating person. So many achievements. But I do, before we go, I want to ask you how are your cats doing? Because I know you have some some beautiful fur babies.
They are just wonderful.
Oh, good.
We're so Miss Marple is the girl, and she's almost 6 years old now, and the young boy is his name is Mr. Holmes
I
in
like
the
it.
as a Sherlock, and he's and they finally bonded. Miss Marple wasn't going to accept him in the beginning, but now they're buddies,
Now they're buddies.
and uh,
Hmm.
and they're doing really well. We have to be careful up here in the Okanagan hills in the Okanagan because we can't let them outside
Mm, yeah.
because
Dangerous.
it's too dangerous for them,
Yeah.
and so they've gotten accustomed to being inside. So,
Yeah.
well, they
Well,
are beautiful. Tell me just one thing about the book. It's on,
yeah.
it's on Amazon, and people can. All they have to do is type in "Can't Stop Dancing," and my book will come up, and it's in paperback or hardcover or Kindle.
What about audio? Do you see, is that going to happen?
Is that Kindle?
Just talking it, just reading it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they said that was Kindle. I mean, the publisher.
Okay.
But they didn't have me doing the talking.
Oh, okay.
They had
Okay.
someone else do the talking.
Well, what else do we need to know before I let you go? And I thank you so much for your time, of course. But any last thoughts?
Oh my gosh. I think when you basically is it, and it I I want to get I want the book to inspire not only people who want a career in show business, but a career in anything they do. It's the attitude. You know, in Hollywood, if you have a bad attitude or you grumble or you know, that gets around the business real quick. And there's been a lot of jobs that I've gotten because this the company knew my attitude, and I would never caused waves. I was always positive, and directors and producers they want people like that in their company because they aren't going to cause any trouble.
Yeah.
So it's important that people work to eliminate passive and negative thinking because it takes you to places you don't want to be.
Hmm.
And if you're positive, you're going to attract like-minded people, and that's going to put you where you want to be. And it's and you mentioned about working hard. It not only do you work hard, but as you improve and you get better, it gets harder. It doesn't get easier. It gets harder because it's more. It requires more out of you. So it's a constant growing learning curve, and so you never ever give up. You never listen to people who my son wrote a wonderful thing in the book about there's sometimes there are people that will do whatever they want to do about to thwart your dreams, your ideas, but then suddenly an angel will appear and help you get there. But you don't listen to people like that.
Yeah.
And nobody has the right to tell you that you'll never do this or never do that. You can do whatever you want to do. It's your choice, to keep going on, and just all the negative junk that happens, you just brush it off. And it's like, for instance, the direction is always forward if you want to go. But if you come up against something that doesn't agree with you and it isn't good for you, all you have to do is turn slightly to the right and keep going.
I think that's
And that's right.
demonstrated fully, beautifully stated by you just now, but it's demonstrated throughout your book because when things needed to change in your career path, you didn't hesitate. Maybe it was a working in a hotel for with your family, uh, just finding ways. You found an inventive way for dancers that were in a restaurant in a hotel. You managed to bend and flex, and throughout everything that you've done, and that's very very obvious in the book, and it didn't deter you, it did not stop you.
No, nothing deterred me.
Yeah.
It was, I knew at 8 years old, I wanted to do this and just never stopped.
And you still haven't, you're still dancing, and I appreciate you for being here today. And if people that are listening, I want you to look up his movies on Internet Movie Database, just to pick one out and then find him. Find this incredible man because he's easy. He's worked with one of my favorite. Some of these movies I watch just so I can go. I'm looking for Jim. There he is. Uh, One was Marriage on the Rocks with great people: Deborah Carr, Dean Martin, Frank Sinatra. It's just incredible how you have worked with so many people and you tell these stories so beautifully in your book. I Can't Stop Dancing.
Well, I have one thing I always tell dancers: learn as much as you can, many different things. Learn many things because it lowers risk of unemployment. The more things you can do, the more money you'll make,
True.
and you keep things going. If
That's
you
true.
stick to one thing only, there'll be a lot of downtime. I mean, I learned a little bit of mime. and I've actually made money doing a mime at work, and I've also one of the most thrilling times of my life was Tony Basil helped me with she had just discovered the Campbell Lockers, which was the first street dancing, and she brought it all mainstream. But I brought that group up to Canada for I was the entertainment director at a trendy club, and they took Vancouver by storm.
Wow.
And they also taught me some locking. So now, in the last 2 years, I auditioned for a commercial. It was going to be for Crown Royal. It was going to be shot in Mexico City. And the reason why I got the job is because I could do some locking,
See?
which is, and so I'm saying, learn as many things as you possibly can. It'll, you'll work more.
It will serve you well. Thank
Yes,
you,
it will.
James E. Hibbard, for being with me on my podcast today. And this will also be an article. So if you don't want to listen in, you can read it. And we have tons of pictures that we will be using of you. Thank you so much. Always a pleasure. You are just a joy. And all the
And
best.
thank you so much.
You're
I
very
appreciate this.
welcome. Thank you, everyone, for being with me today at GG and 561. I'm Pam Barker. I appreciate it. Don't forget my books are on Amazon. They're novels and a children's book, and they're easy reads. They're just fun, so don't forget that. This podcast will always rest on northpalmbeachlife.com and 20 platforms, including iTunes, Spotify, Pandora, and Amazon. So subscribe. You don't want to miss any of these things, and you don't want to miss this book. It's called I Can't Stop Dancing, and you won't be able to stop reading it. And then once you read it, you will want to find out more by watching films and finding James Hibbard. Thanks again. Stay with me.